Right. And we created all that problem in Afghanistan to try to run the Russians out. And then when we finally got the Russians out, then these people turned on us.
There's been a 13-fold now, it grows, of any record of opium production. Heroin is everywhere now. And the BBC just admits, well, the U.S. and the British, we have to guard the opium or the Taliban will get it. The Taliban is there guarding it. We're shipping it out. Was it over oil or was it more over opium?
It was over two reasons. Afghanistan for two reasons. Number one, they needed to create a 48-inch gas pipeline and oil pipeline from the Caspian Sea area down to a saltwater port south and also into China. And these had to go through Afghanistan. And the Taliban would not permit it. And then the second reason is 90% of the opium in the world is created there in Afghanistan, and the Taliban, it's against their religion for their own people to consume it, and so the production of poppies was outlawed by the Taliban and was headed to zero about the time we invaded Afghanistan. And from there on, it went back up to normal production.
But just to be driving in my car, listening to XM a few months ago, I already knew all this, but to hear him admit it, BBC spun it like, well, U.S. and British forces guard the poppies, and production has gone up, because if we don't let the farmers grow it, the Taliban will take back control and they will sell it. And that's always the rationale. That's how the CIA got involved in narcotics when it was OSS. Well, if we don't, the Nazis will do it. And no, the truth is it's just the mafia.
That's right. The Taliban is actually a mafia within Afghanistan. And they go around and control the farmers, and everything they do is controlled by the Taliban.
Got me wanting to cough now, too. We're having like a... It's funny how one person coughs, the other feels like they've got a cough.
Just like a yawn.
Absolutely. Hey, it would be nice to take a little snooze right now. We could just say nap time now and play some nice soft music for people. Robert, let's get into the master plan a little bit more and then into solutions.
Okay.
Studying this, what makes the globalists tick? Why do they enjoy doing horrible things to people? Why do they enjoy pushing eugenics? And what will the world look like if they're successful?
Well, you're a great example. You've presented a great example of what they're like. You snuck into the Bohemian Grove and you videoed the ceremony. You got some people that are involved in medieval thoughts, and this is done every day in their operations. They just happened to meet there at Bohemian Grove, and also I was really proud of you when you approached
David Gergen.
David Gergen, and he says he dishonors you or something like that.
He got mad, yeah.
Yeah, but it takes people like you to...
Well, somebody had to do it, but the thing was, I didn't really believe they were doing that completely when I snuck in. I snuck in to see.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting there watching the ritual, and I thought, well, this maybe is like a play. But the old men around me were very agitated, breathing heavy. This was more religious than, going to Baptist church growing up and holy rollers, getting really excited and praying and, getting wild. This was religious rapture. I mean, exactly. They were really into this at certain points. That was
a formal ceremony. That was not a stage show. And that's just a micro example of what's going on throughout the world. And these people get involved in trafficking of drugs, trafficking of young children, trafficking of women throughout the world.
And it even comes out in Congress, and Rumsfeld says they're not going to get in trouble. We're going to let DynCorp do it. And then anywhere you walk into an Acorn, you go, I got 12-year-old sex slaves, and they go, great. I mean, that's how mainstream this is.
Yeah, and that was another great expose there where they snuck in or just walked in and pretended to be a prostitute and a pimp.
I've always told my listeners, get hidden cameras, go into any city council, any government group, any CPS, and these people are so lawless and so criminal. I mean, look, if you can steal kids with no due process all day, there's going to be something wrong with you.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, the few times I go to the Capitol, I catch bribery on tape. The government is so corrupt. It's like a rotten barn. You pull one plank off, there's termites anywhere you look.
That's right. And they try to keep it under wraps, but every now and then it'll come out. But then they put a spin on it, saying, "Well, no, that must be fiction. That doesn't really happen. That's not us." But we know it is.
Well, you studied societies, how they go into these cycles. We're clearly going into a very decadent cycle. Can you describe what you, from your deep research and the other experts you talked to in an interview for your book, believe is going to happen, A, and B, get into what's happening with the dollar?
Okay, first of all, the creation of the American Union was scheduled for January 1st, 2005, and Dick Cheney said that in a video that I have, and where David Rockefeller congratulated him for his talk, but he said we're on track to create the American Union, or they call it the Council of the Americas, by January 1st, 2005. He really meant the American Union. But
and by the way, on that same clip, he's so arrogant. He goes, "I didn't tell my constituents I was doing this," and they all laugh at us. It's real funny that he can do this on C-SPAN, knowing his constituents in Wyoming aren't watching C-SPAN.
That's right.
I mean, every meeting I watch of these guys now, they laugh at us. It's funny.
But they have been planning this. In fact, I've got the minutes of the first Bilderberg meeting in which David Rockefeller talked about the world economy at that first Bilderberg meeting in 1954, and the planning of the creation of the European Union. And so they have very long-range plans. They don't do what's going to happen this quarter or this month. If it slips a little bit, say, well, we'll do it next year or next 5 years. But
long-term strategic planning.
That's right. And it's like the frog in the pan. As you gradually turn the heat up, the frog is cooked before he knows about it. And they're doing that to the public. And they know that if they are too aggressive, that people will fall out in the streets by the millions and maybe bring out some guillotines.
But they're now rolling out the sound cannons and the microwave guns in the Fed rallies.
Yeah. Well, the Patriot Act and several other things that they continually try to take our freedoms away from us and try to make us all seem as though we're evil people, we're terrorists, and I think you probably have talked about FEMA saying that they've got a list of people that are terrorists.
Yes,
and
or sympathizers, and we've all got to be put in camps. Yeah,
and so you and I are probably deep on that list, and so.
Oh yeah, they won't give me my FOIA for my FBI file. It says national security. And then national security, I can't see what lies they've got in there about me.
Well, legally, you should be able to go to the FBI and see your records.
No, exactly. I've talked to a lawyer where I'm going to have to sue him.
Yeah. But there's all sorts of garbage in there, and you and I have very thick files in the CIA and the FBI.
Oh, of course. They study what we're doing. I've noticed Glenn Beck and others are now copying all the terms I use.
Yeah.
Like we've got to stop the fall of the Republic, the New World Order, but then they're doing that so he can be in control of the opposition and lead them and control them.
Right, and they have these stooges out there to try to drive us in one direction or another, and they try to appear to be one thing, but they're really the other.
Robert, again, back to the dollar. We were talking during a break. Do you think this is the rush to the exits? Do you think this is the beginning of the death of the dollar?
There's no question about it. They'll end up with the international monetary system. I don't know what they'll call it. In the European Union, they call it the euro. In I believe Africa, they call it the afro or something like
yes.
that. But they will create one money system, and so and it all be created electronically. And so if you are not within their system, you won't be able to spend money.